TUROK.
Yes, those are the three words that will conjure up bloody memories for gamers that went through the late 90s with a triple-handled gamepad in their hands. The legacy of the tribal, time-traveling warrior gained notoriety not only because it was the first third-party video game released for the Nintendo 64, but because of its gritty, tribal attitude towards the first-person shooting experience. No matter if you're blasting away at velociraptors 60 million years ago, or hunting laser-toting aliens with a bow and arrow. Developed by Iguana Entertainment and published by Acclaim, two companies responsible for NBA Jam, TUROK, Dinosaur Hunter, goes back to the days of shooters like Quake and Doom, and surrounds you in a tropical war zone full of bloodthirsty creatures ready to rip you to shreds. Here's something I didn't know. TUROK was first a comic book published by Acclaim's comic division at the time, and no doubt it helped the company make money by observing the trend in late 90s video game releases, which resulted in the creation of one of the most famous first-person shooting series of all time. The biggest draw in this game is probably the amount of weapons at your disposal and the plethora of enemies that will shoot you from a distance or engage you at close range. And as the game progresses, they just get better and better at making your trip through time a living hell. I mean, carnivorous dinosaurs with cyborg armor and weapons? That's just ingenious, and so 90s FPS it hurts. Half the challenge is defeating opponents, and the other half is reminiscent of Tomb Raider, performing death-defying leaps across platforms in order to reach the next part of the stage, or collect important weapons or prisms. The first time I took a look at those rectangular blocks, I thought to myself, "Oh, hell no!" But with a little bit of nimbleness, it all becomes second nature to traverse rocky cliffs, broken wooden bridges, and other obstacles. Also impressive in its presentation is your point of view while swimming. Iguana could have gone ahead and overlooked this quality, but it actually feels like you're floating or swimming in ponds and other underwater chasms, the sound drowning out and your screen tilting to and fro on the horizontal plane. As I mentioned before, this game is a treasure trove for weapon freaks. From a bow and arrow and hunting knife to pistols, assault rifles, and even plasma-filled alien weapons, the creativity of the weapon loadout in this game is like no other. Nothing like blasting away at opponents, after which you will hear trademark screams and shrieks as they draw their last breaths. Of course, no game made in the late 90s was without its flaws, and in this case it's probably the fact that your joystick is what you use to aim and look around, while the 4C buttons composed your actual movement. For some it was no big deal, others it was the reason they went back to the store with their receipt, expecting their money back. I am of the opinion that such a controversial control layout should not ruin the entire experience. And plus, I was notorious for my strafing abilities in GoldenEye 007, which offered a similar movement control mechanism. I can't help but point out the fantastic tribal soundtrack, which is jam-packed with jungle animal noises as much as driving drum beats. It really helps you get into the mindset that you're a badass native, ready to blast on some dinos. Also worth noting in the extras column are the cheat codes, and in such an age of cheat codes like the late 90s, you definitely missed out if you didn't know how to crack the code for invincibility, unlimited spirit mode, and of course, big heads. TUROK Dinosaur Hunter is probably in many a gamer's collection, and viewers that are my age have definitely given this excellent first-person shooter a try. Whether they earned it themselves after mowing lawns or shoveling snow, or were introduced to it at a friend's house. One thing's for sure, it transcends its time, just as much as TUROK did in Search of the Chronoscepter.